Um, Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our weekly parenting workshops. Thank you for joining us. And for those joining us for the first time today, my name is Chennai Machinjike. I am the founder of EPAC UK, which is an organization that supports African parents. We discuss anything parenting related, safeguarding, UK parenting norms, essentially some of the struggles we have as African parents raising children in the UK. We have these workshops on a weekly basis. And have different guest speakers who come to talk to us about, all different types of things relating to parenting, from health, education, mental health, learning needs. And tonight we have a guest speaker, Jessie Allen, who will be talking to us about making the system work for our neurodivergent children. So this is an area really that I'm passionate about. I think most people always hear me talk about my son, who is autistic. So it is really an area that I am passionate about, and I'm really looking forward to hearing and learning. And yeah, over to you, Jessie.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Chennai, for that introduction. So I'm just going to share a little bit about who I am. So, hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking time to be here with us this evening. You could have been anywhere else, but you chose to join us. So thank you for that. As Chennai said, I'm Jessie Allen. I'm a registered nurse for people with learning disabilities. I'm also a public health expert. So I did a master's in public health, which led me really into doing this work. So I'm an award-winning cancer champion, but I'm also passionate about film, media, and heritage, especially how heritage can shape our identity. I am also a wife. I'm a mother. I have two boys. They have grown, and I've shared this picture just so to let all the parents know that these babies, they grow. So my children are now 25 and 20. So I'm also an African woman, and I'm from Zimbabwe. So at the moment, I am being accused of not having taught the boys how to speak Shona properly. So, talking about heritage, I think, we really need to put our heads together and see how we can, save the African languages, especially for this generation of young people that grow up here in the UK. So I'm also a researcher. So when Chennai sent over the leaflet, I was a little bit concerned that people might think research is so boring. I thought that might put people off. So I really want to let you know a bit about my role as a researcher and my doctoral research study. So I'm actually exploring experiences of talking to strangers about health experiences. And I'm using an online blog for data collection. And so I use it basically by looking at how I create content and also how I engage with strangers online. So basically, the idea is to look at my sense of self and my self-presentation and how I make sense of the way that I portray myself or how I create and develop content. So I've been doing this for the past 7 years. I set up the blog in 2019, and if you're interested to follow my blog, I will let you know my handle at the end, or you can actually see it on there. It's at jessie.allen24. So basically, what my research does is that it contributes to knowledge when supporting people who face marginalization and conflict. And the reason why I thought of the idea of using an online blog as part of doing this research is because a lot of us always hesitate, how we show up online, and we worry about how do people perceive us. So in terms of how this relates to our discussion this evening, this can also play into how experiences of autism can be marginalized or can be ignored or not taken seriously. So I hope I've made you realize that I'm quite an interesting person. I'm not a boring researcher. Ah. So so basically, in terms of my link to autism, it's not just that I'm a trained nurse. My connection as well is has a deeply personal nature to it. I've been nursing for 27 years, and I'm also an autism trainer. And over the years, I've seen how young people can be, in a sense, groomed for social exclusion. So from mainstream education, and tragically, they get placed on what can be described as the school to prison pipeline. So I'm really passionate about disrupting that pipeline. And I remember not long ago, I was speaking with a young man, and I've known him for all his life. Basically, he's an autistic Black man, and he recently was released from prison. And he was talking about how within that environment, being able to express his own form of resistance, which they tend to call challenging behavior. Yeah. So he was actually able to have some sense of agency and dignity. So it meant that he could have his own cell and his own space. But as I was listening to him, I felt heartbroken. And at the same time, I felt that his story was very illuminating. I've also witnessed the pain and the sorrow that his family has carried through his experience. And sadly, this story is not unique. It's one that's repeated and echoed across the country. And it highlights why conversations like the one we're having today are so vital. So this is really important that we come together and notice this. So I serve as a governor for the PCREF. It's a governance oversight and advisory group, which works to ensure that the Black country healthcare is genuinely anti-racist. And I will explain a little bit why it's important for us to recognize that racism plays a huge part in the experiences of young people, young Black people, and older people as well. So as a governor, my role is to make sure that the voices and experiences of patients and carers and communities serve how services are designed and delivered. So what we try and do is we give the NHS independent challenge, but also we bring some fresh thinking. So as well as being a governor, I'm also an ambassador for autism and for people with learning disabilities. So I'll just explain a little bit about what the PCREF is. So the PCREF, and it stands for Patient, Carers, Race, Equality Framework. It's basically a plan to make services safer, fairer, and more respectful. So at the moment, you can see the lovely picture of Chennai and myself at a recent meeting. So basically, Chennai acts as an ambassador as well because she is a trusted voice. She is a community leader and also is able to bring the lived experiences of the community to the table. So we're working alongside the Black Country Healthcare NHS Foundation Trust. And I just wanted to check if everybody is familiar with some of the services that the NHS, the Black Country NHS Healthcare Foundation provides. So if you unmute your mic, maybe you could let me know a few services that you are aware of, any hospitals or children's services. Feel free to unmute.
So, Jessie, my group, this one in particular, is nationwide. So
Oh,
you might find
right.
that
I beg your pardon.
we have a lot more people who do not live within the Black country. We do have a few as well who do. Yeah.
Oh, in that case, then I will provide the
The
information.
information. Yeah.
Yes, I think that would be helpful.
Okay.
Okay. So apologies for that, guys. I just assumed we were covering the Black country only. So we are in the Black country, and that covers Dudley, Sandwell, Walsall, and Wolverhampton. So the NHS Trust works with both the children and young people, adults, and families as well. So there are hospitals such as Dorothy Patterson, that one is in Warsaw. I'm sure some of you have heard of Penn Hospital, that's in Wolverhampton. But they also run services for children and young people's mental health, so CAMS services. There are also specialist autism assessment and learning disability services. So it's quite a pretty large NHS trust. Now, in terms of inequalities, racial inequality matters in this context. Why? Because Black, Asian, and other racialized groups often face barriers at every stage. So whether that's getting a timely autism assessment, being believed when they raise concerns, and accessing the right mental health and learning disability support. So families may experience stereotypes, language and cultural barriers as well, or a lack of understanding about how autism presents in different communities. And this can delay the support and increase the stress and the risk as well. So in my area, which is the Black country, inequalities are visible at every level of the system. So we have people of Black African heritage with neurodivergent needs often coming into contact with services only at crisis point, and so tend to be overrepresented among those detained under the Mental Health Act. I'm sure this is a scenario quite familiar across the country as well. But as an ambassador, through conversations with some diaspora parents, I've come to understand just the depth of their fear and their frustration when they're supporting an autistic child, especially when a child does not speak and the parents are struggling to recognize or validate the many ways that autistic children communicate their needs. And some parents have voiced anxieties as well about the apparent rise in autism and ADHD among boys of Black African heritage. And some have started to think that perhaps there's a link with vaccination programs. And as a researcher, I definitely feel this is an area where we need to do a lot of research. Right? Other issues, stigma in the community remains a major barrier. So for many families, secrecy has become a form of protection, and people are afraid that they're going to be shamed, and people fear they're going to be judged as poor parents. Or there are also cultural interpretations that frame autism as bad behavior, or some of them might even say spiritual failure. So furthermore, you can see that with the distrust of services, this just leads to further delays in people seeking help. And the added weight of racism and stereotyping tends to make families even more vulnerable, sometimes leading them to withdraw from support altogether. So we really don't want this to happen. So that's why even events like we're having today is very important for us to start to talk about the challenges we are facing. Black autistic and neurodivergent children also face structural barriers within schools and within CAMS services. So these include racism, stereotyping, and a lack of culturally competent special education needs support, all of which contribute to missed assessments and worsening mental health over time. So parents have frequently also told me that they're not really aware of the specialist learning disability services and say that reasonable adjustments, such as flexible appointments, accessible communication, or easy read information are not consistently made. So that's an important couple of words for you to remember, that reasonable adjustments are things that you can ask for your child. So if we consider this pattern alongside known health inequalities, such as high blood pressure, diabetes, and higher mortality rates among people of African heritage, the parallels are clear. When neurodivergence or learning disability is added to that picture, the risks of late diagnosis and suboptimal treatment are amplified. So in other words, the situation really gets worse because of the neurodivergent and autism diagnosis. So this evening, I really had to think about how best to make the information concise and useful for you to take away and start to feel some kind of improvement in the experiences of your children. So what struck me as being most useful was to just share with you about the GP Learning Disability Register. Don't know if you could do a thumbs up just to indicate if you've heard about the Learning Disability Register. So maybe just put a thumbs up if you've heard about it. So Chennai, I don't know if you can, I can't see the responses. Have people heard about it?
Yes, we've got quite a few thumbs up.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So for those of you who haven't heard about it, the GP Learning Disability Register is a practical way to reduce some of these gaps for autistic children who also have a learning disability. So being on the register can make it easier for services to identify children who need extra support, offer reasonable adjustments, and invite them for annual health checks as they get older. So the GP Learning Disability Register is a list at the GP surgery of people with a learning disability. Yep, so it includes children and young people. And being on it, as there are such a wide range of positive reasons to be on this learning disability register. And I would like to go through 5 at a time and then pause, because there's about 15 of what it can mean being on this register. So there's some benefits here. So one of the main benefits is that your child will get an annual health check. So this is usually from the age of 14. However, anybody can be on the learning disability register from any age. However, from 14, they will get an annual health check. So staff will have a better understanding of your child's needs. There will be improved planning for transition to adult services. Right. So what actually happens? Oops. Yeah. So what actually happens at an annual health check? So in simple terms, this is where a doctor or a nurse will, number one, do basic physical checks. They will check the weight, pulse, and blood pressure. Sorry, I'm jumping. Yeah, okay. So they will do a basic physical check. They will check the weight, blood pressure, and pulse. Sometimes they'll take a urine sample. They will also listen to the heart, lungs, and look at things like skin, breathing, and general fitness. And number 5, they will talk about general health and everyday issues. So I'll just pause there for you to let that sink in a little bit. So at the annual health check, you can also ask about eating, drinking, sleep, exercise, toileting, periods, behavior changes, and mood. And you can also share with the doctor as much information as possible. The doctor or nurse might ask you things about epilepsy, constipation, problems with swallowing, or sight or hearing problems. And these are things that are very common for people with learning disability. They will also review long-term conditions and medicines. And they will check for conditions like asthma, diabetes, or epilepsy. I'm going to stop there a little bit to let you just soak up what I've just said. Okay, the health professional will also review medicines. That includes repeat prescriptions and make sure that they're still right. They will talk about any side effects. And you could also mention any side effects if necessary. To be an opportunity to check vaccinations and screenings as well. To be a chance to make sure vaccinations are up to date, for example, the flu or other routine jabs. And it will be a time to talk about any other health checks or hospital appointments that might be needed. Okay, we're going to pause a little bit. You can also talk about mental health and well-being while you're at this health check. You can ask how the person is feeling. Well, this is what the doctor will ask, how your child is feeling emotionally, including anxiety, low mood, behavior, or distress. For autistic young people, this can include how they are coping with school or college, or if there are any sensory issues and any changes. You can agree a simple health action plan as well. And what you need to do is also help them to figure out the best reasonable adjustments for your child. For example, you can ask for longer appointments. You can ask to go at quieter times. Maybe have a side room where you can wait instead of waiting in the same waiting room as everyone else. You can ask for clear language to be used and maybe have someone to support with communication. You can ask how you can get help as a carer if you need to get respite, how this can be for you. And you usually can stay with your child or young person. But in terms of asking for appointments, you can actually ask for a double appointment. And it's important to know that you can do this. And when we get to the next section, we're going to actually practice how to ask for your child to be added to the learning disability list, and also how to check if they are on the list already. So this slide that's on now is actually jumped a little forward, but this slide is now asking about the things that are being done to bring about change. An example is this workshop. It's a powerful example. And Chennai, being one of the ambassadors and community leader with a trusted voice, she's very much aware of how to represent your case to those in leadership. Because for too long, Black African voices have been missing from mainstream conversations about autism and neurodiversity. So we are here together more than just being, I'm echoing, I think, yeah, okay. Yeah, so events like this encourage us to reflect on the rough edges of our experiences as well as our joys. Yeah, we can imagine how we can be better, how we can do better together. In a world that's saturated with all the noise from social media, moments like this feel like they give us a chance to pause, to connect, and to breathe. Because without this type of space, we can burn out. So it's really important. I wish to thank Chennai once again for supporting this event this evening. So this is a bit where I need a little bit of activity from everyone who's here. So whether you put this in the chat, or if you are in the Black Country area, you can maybe unmute and just answer these questions. So these questions I have are to help shape a better future for our children, because our children deserve care that sees them and hears them. And together we can define what good looks like. Yeah, so following this exercise, then I will share those tips I promised you on how to get the most out of interactions with health professionals who may find it difficult to understand our culture. Right, so the first question I have is what would you like to see or hear to be convinced that the NHS is serious about being anti-racist? So I'll ask that question again. What would you need to see or hear for you to be convinced that they are serious about being anti-racist? So you can put your answer in the chat or unmute to just give a quick answer. Over to you. And if you see anything in the chat, Chennai, if you could read out if anybody has written anything.
Yeah, I will do. I'm just keeping an eye on it.
Okay.
From personal experience, I would say maybe less adultification of Black children, particularly boys. I feel like they're treated a lot older than their age when things go wrong. Say, for example, if there are challenges in school, if you like, they're treated a lot more, much older. They're expected to be a lot more mature, or the responses in terms of how the incidents are handled for a much older child than what their actual developmental age is, or actual ages rather than developmental, actual ages, yeah.
So what would you need to see and hear or hear to convince you that then they're changing that sort of practice?
That's a difficult question.
It is, isn't it?
That's a difficult question because I personally feel like there is a lot that still needs to be done. And I think as Black people, we've never experienced any different. So it's difficult to put it into words. The easy answer would be fairer treatment, but I wouldn't be able to put into word what that looks like because we've never experienced it, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, I love the way you framed that.
Yeah.
So it's almost like it's an alien concept, even
Yeah.
to think about it.
Yeah. And whilst it's positive that we're here and having these conversations, I think the trust is so low that it's going to take a lot more than just you and me saying we are sitting on the table with the powers above. And I suppose this is a start, so it's a good thing.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think going from zero, where there was nothing of this nature, to actually us trying to bring the voices of the community to the table for the first time in a really serious way. While it deserves applaud, there's still a lot more
Yeah,
that needs to be done.
Yeah. So there are a few comments in the chat.
Okay.
So someone said they would need to see blacks treated the same as whites.
Mm-hmm.
Someone has said taking black people seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And someone else has said, I would like to see the government promote more events like this.
Mm-hmm.
So this is more obviously on the government level. It's good that the NHS are doing this. I think it needs to be replicated across the board in terms of
Absolutely.
systemically.
Mm-hmm.
Authentic diversity reflected in top leadership.
Oh, wow. Authentic. I like that. Has
Yes.
to be people who can actually do the work.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yes. So authentic and I think representation, we need to see
Yeah.
more people like us right at the top of the leadership scale. Um, not to be
Mm-hmm.
dismissive of parents' concerns and views. And I think that's a really big one, which I have my own story to tell on that one.
Oh, wow. Please share.
And if
I think,
you
yeah, there is. That will go under question number 2. Yeah. So you're
yeah.
jumping the gun.
So yeah, so not to be dismissed.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's a big one, and I can
That's
totally
huge.
relate on that one. And
Definitely.
then someone's put need to see or hear from send or which of the services. Uh
Hmm.
oh, it's jumped. Sorry, yeah, or
Hmm.
which of the services. I think they're saying they need to hear more from send teams, I suppose.
I
And
think that is an issue that definitely needs to be addressed more seriously in
yeah,
terms of just requesting more evidence of how um, children with the specialist educational needs are being supported in a culturally competent way. So maybe more information about what is being done. So maybe people want to see how the issue is being addressed, may perhaps through newsletters or maybe perhaps through meetings with parents. And these are some of the things that we're trying to figure out.
mm,
How can we convince, how can the Black country convince us? But in that action that they're taking, we can then judge. We can be better placed to actually judge the action that they're taking.
yeah,
So from the action, we can then figure out their intention, whether they are being anti-racist for real or not.
yeah.
Because it's usually very hard to discern and decipher intent,
Mhm, mhm.
right? And especially if the language is a barrier, or if the use of uh, words, clever words, and that are out of reach for the lay people. So
Yeah,
what we're trying to do is more or less um, cut out all the unnecessary things. What do we actually want to see them for us to be convinced that this is actually being done?
yeah.
So that's excellent feedback. Thank you, everybody.
I've
Are
got
we ready to
to
go to question number 2?
let me just read out. There's a
Yes,
couple more.
please.
So you've got zero tolerance policies that are reviewed to see impact.
Oh, yes.
To not always be sent to a GP of color.
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Wonder
And
if they want to could elaborate. Are they happy to?
yeah, let
No
me just
pressure.
see. They've sent me. Right. So, um, right, just bear with me. Sorry, this might not be the answer. My 14 years old daughter. Okay, I'll leave that one till the next one
Till
because
the
I think
next.
that might, yeah. And then you've got more Black lead service providers.
Mm-hmm.
Another one, and then for school to have knowledge or more understanding about Black neurodivergent children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Wow,
that's it.
that's
I don't know if Kutiwa, do you want to expand what you mean by not being sent to a GP of color? I don't know. Um,
mm.
I wouldn't necessarily see that as a negative thing. I would see that as a positive thing. So, but I don't know. I don't know. Right. I think we
Mm.
can move on.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Good evening.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I was just in noise. Like my other daughter, she's not sleeping yet. Sorry for disturbing, but yes. So why I'm saying that is because we are in an area where it's an all white area.
Okay.
Mhm.
We've been here like maybe 4 years now, going 4 years.
Mhm.
Every single time we book for an appointment for my daughter, who's pretty much struggling with even going to school, she can go a whole week without going to school.
Okay.
Okay.
When I call for an appointment, if there's no GP of color, I get told there's an appointment.
Oh,
Oh my goodness. Mm. Have you
When
have you addressed this with somebody at the surgery?
I've sent an email to the manager, and because I started seeing it with myself, but then I realized it was worse with her.
Mm.
Because like if I had any issues or if I wanted to book an appointment early in the morning, I could be maybe the number two on the line. When I get answered, the moment you give your date of birth, they tell you, oh, can you please go to a different GP, not the one next door to us, which is we're literally like two doors away from one. They will send us to maybe somewhere where you have to either maybe drive down 10 minutes,
Mhm.
15 minutes. And when you get there, you find an Asian doctor or a black doctor or black Nigerian doctor there.
wow.
No.
So
Yeah.
when it started happening with my daughter, it was every single time, and this is to do with just names, not even skin color. Because when you're on the phone and you say, "Oh, my child's called Catherine," they don't know whether the child is black or white. So I've got an older daughter who's got an English last name, and she lives in Sheffield. So when she calls in for an appointment, she gets given next door to us.
Hmm.
But because myself and my younger daughter, my middle daughter, we've got Shauna names.
Hmm.
We always get sent away from the GPs.
Wow.
Hmm. I'm sorry to hear what you're going through. Have you tried contacting or making a complaint through the PALS
I've
system?
um I've wrote an email to PALS. I haven't received anything back yet. But I did have a word with one of the GPs
Hmm.
from the Nigerian GP that I went to see, because my condition at that point, which is much better now,
Hmm.
um my feet kept on swelling and they wouldn't check what was wrong with it. And then when I went to see her, she sent me for emergency an appointment to get a chest X-ray because she thought it was my heart. And she was just like, "How long has this been going on for?" I was like, "Well, this has been like almost 4 or 5 months."
Hmm.
And I've gone into the GPs a few times, and one doctor gave me some is a water tablets, and that was it. They never followed through.
Oh dear.
The blood test never came back conclusive. I was just told, oh, everything's fine on the blood test. But she just had to look at my feet once and send me straight. She just said, I don't want you to leave here and go home. I want you to go straight to get, I'm calling in for an emergency to get your heart checked. A heart check straight. Chest x-ray. And then that's when I had a word with her and I said, you know what, I'm really struggling because every single time I call my GP, if there
Hmm.
is no one available of our skin tone, they always say there's no appointment today. Can you please call back tomorrow? Or all the appointments are full now. And I'm thinking, well, it's 8:15. How can they be all full?
Oh.
Mm.
Mm.
So, oh no, we only have the nurses. You have to call during the middle of the month to get a doctor's appointment. And I'm like, that's a bit strange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Gosh, I'm so sorry
That,
that you're going through that.
So yeah, so that raises part. I wouldn't mind seeing a GP, an Asian one, not a problem. But it's
Mm.
just when it's happening in a way
mm.
whereby you feel as if we don't know how to deal with you,
Hmm.
so we have to send you to someone who might be able to explain things to you.
Mm.
Wow. Wow, I would really love to follow up on what's happening there because I might have some ideas from some of the research I've been doing and how people have handled situations that are similar to that, and some have had to really involve their MP and also just chasing up on your concern, your complaint that you've made, and just being resilient in chasing that up until you get an answer. Because your health is your wealth, and it's really important
Oh,
that you get
definitely.
seen.
Oh, definitely. It's just sad like that you have to go through that. And even when you go to the community hospital, it's exactly the same treatment. But the area we're in, when I moved to the area, people were like, "Oh, are you serious? You're going there? They're very racist down there."
Oh
And I
no.
was just like, "Well, at the end of the day, people need to get out of it or to get away from it of being racist. And so the only person who helps us around here is the pharmacist. If you go in with the pharmacist and he says, "Oh, I think your blood pressure is up. Why don't you wear this for the next 24 hours and come back and show it to me?" It's only him who does that. Everybody else, all the GPs, unless there's an Asian one that's visiting that was probably coming to fill in for the day, you will not get an appointment.
Oh wow. Thank you for raising that issue.
No, that's okay. Thank you so
Thank you.
much for listening.
No, thank you. Oh wow.
Jesse, before you move on, I had somebody else that had their hand up. Sid, I don't know, you've put your hand down now, but I don't know if you wanted to speak. Or was it an accidental hand? I'm not sure. Okay, maybe not.
Maybe not. Okay. Maybe they will.
They will at some point. Yeah.
Yes, at some point, because we're moving to question 2 now.
Yeah.
So question 2 is, what does feeling included and respected look like? So this is just inviting you to think about what things, when things went well, what did that feel like? What does that look like? And or when things go wrong as well. So we're just asking for both positive and negative experiences. What does it feel like to be included and respected? So again, feel free to write in the chat, or
Yeah.
you can,
Or
if you wish
unmute
to say something.
speak. Yeah. I think for me, it's, being heard. And that's different to just being listened to.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's different to just being listened to. So really feeling like someone is hearing what you're saying, because a lot of the time, certainly my experience has been, people will listen and they'll nod their heads and you think that, they are listening, and it's the action after that that tells you that actually they didn't hear anything, or they were just listening, but they had no intention of following through with what you're raising.
So have you ever had an experience when you really felt like, yeah, these people got me, they understand me, I feel like they've taken into account who I am, my culture, etc. Do you have?
Yeah, so I mean, as I said, I have a child who's autistic myself. So when he started to experience, or rather when the symptoms started to show, that's when he was in nursery. And at the time, I suppose the signs were always there, but as a parent, you're just like, oh, my child's got their own little way of doing things, So there were things that I noticed, that he was so attached to little cars. He was obsessed with certain color things, and he loved, being in the middle all the time, or having things a certain way, right? But those were things because I've got an older child who's an adult now, and then he's 7 in a couple of days. So it's almost like he's an only child in the house. So when he was in nursery, and then nursery started to pick up on these things and say, this is what we're noticing and stuff like that, I then went to the GP. But at that point, I think the first GP I saw asked for a report from nursery.
Mm-hmm.
And nursery didn't put any of the things that they were raising with me
Oh dear. Oh dear.
on the form. So it was literally one paragraph that wasn't raising any of the things
Oh
that they
dear.
had reported to me. So it came across like I was just, one of those parents. And because my son wasn't 5, they also sent the health visitor to do a developmental assessment. So my son is very high functioning and he masks a lot. So the health visitor in a 1-hour session wasn't able to pick up on any of those things. So the doctor I saw at the time was quite dismissive, as I am a social worker, so I am just, one of those social worker moms who thinks they know it all and they're trying to diagnose their own child. That's basically what I got. And then we had a period of really struggling. I went back to the GP and then seen a different doctor. My experience with male doctors has not been great, but female doctors are found a lot more understanding and willing to listen. So the doctor I'd seen at the time was a male doctor who essentially dismissed me. And then the doctor I saw the second time, who then made a referral for me to early years CAMS, was a lot more helpful. So and they were a lot more open to hearing. I think there is a little bit of a sound. I don't know if that's me. Yeah. They were a lot more open to listening and actually really hearing what I was experiencing at home and also what nursery was reporting. And they actually took a further step to ring the nursery themselves to ask further questions.
Oh, wow.
Which the other GP didn't do.
Wow, you brought in an interesting dynamic about the gender.
Yeah.
I had never considered that
Yeah, that
being
was
an issue.
definitely my experience. But then I've spoken to people who say they've had a different experience with male doctors than female doctors. So I don't know whether that's an actual thing.
Oh, wow. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up.
So, okay. We got a couple of people. Right. My daughter's teachers are amazing. They are really attentive. I've got somebody else who put be mindful to those, but I'm not sure what that was in response to. Anyone else can share any examples of times when they have felt included or respected when raising things about their child?
I think the example you gave us, Chennai, was all-encompassing. It was really, really good in terms of explaining both sides of the coin. So when things went well, how you felt that you were, we've got somebody who's raised their hand, DZ. But I think it was really great that we could see both sides of the coin in your experience.
Oh yeah, my experience, because it's been sort of like coming up to 3 years now, and I've had different experiences, both positive and negative. It's it's a journey. Having a child with additional needs is a journey by itself. Yeah, this.
Yeah, oh, hi, good evening. Yeah, my name is Diana, and I've got a daughter as well who has got special needs. So, how I find like feeling included is sometimes when you're talking to professionals and when they ask you to say, so how best do you think we can help you in this situation? Because I feel good because it's like I feel listened to because I know better. I know my daughter better than other professionals. So when I'm being asked that, that's when, sometimes I know that, they are making my situation personal. They are listening to me and they are willing, to learn more or to know more about my daughter and my situation and the challenges I'm facing. Thank you.
That is so critical, Diana, because you are the expert of your lives. And I think sometimes professionals can forget that.
Yes.
It's usually a challenge as well in mental health services, for example, when people have had to go into hospital if they're unwell. The families tend to feel sidelined and almost treated with a bit of suspicion, So it's really great when that sort of question is asked, and thank you for adding that to the mix, because I think this can empower others as well to start to recognize when being included and what actually being respected looks like. And if not, then people can also say to the professionals, look, I have heard that this is how others have felt included. They've said that when you ask them how best to, help your child XYZ, that gives you an opportunity to demonstrate your lived experience and expertise. Thank you for that. That's a brilliant addition to the mix as well. Gosh, we're cooking really well tonight.
I know. And we've got Julie in the chat who said her GP really seeks her perspective about her child and their needs, and that's really good, isn't it?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Right, are we ready to go to the last question, guys? We're doing so well. So this last question is just going to ask you, right, why am I not moving? Right, okay. So this last question is just in terms of how you would like to be involved. What sort of activities do you think would be worth your while? For ongoing involvement in your area or wherever you are in the country, what do you think would be a meaningful way to be part of this struggle for change?
Renee?
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
I didn't want to say anything because my story is so long, but I'll try to keep it short. I'm happy that you asked this question because I think Chennai knows my journey. And to be fair, I didn't know Chennai until I learned about EPACUK recently, and she actually became a supportive friend. There's so many things that she guided me. I'm a Sen mom as well. And I would really say thanks to her because I've basically just found that pillar of support that I didn't have. And people don't get it. Not everyone gets it. So as moms, we're just navigating this by ourselves, and the struggle is real. Sleepless nights, wet pillow, and out there you just poker face it and try to be strong, so yeah. But anyway, to answer the question, so through my journey with my little boy, it was a struggle trying to navigate the SEN system, trying to get provision, support, everything. Eventually, I did manage to get through. And like I said, Chennai did share quite a lot of tips. It was a hustle. It was a mission up to tribunal and all of that.
Wow.
It was a nightmare, a big nightmare, long emails, all of that. But based on that, because my child was out of school for, they limited his time in class because he was in a mainstream school. So then they'll limit his time. It starts half day, and then it was 2 hours, and then it was 1 hour. Now imagine you go to work and you gotta answer the phone and go pick up your child, and then you can't go to work, and at work, they didn't even understand all of this.
Mm.
And then eventually I had to leave my job because I had to look after my child. It was hard. It was really hard. It was quite an emotional phase. And like I said, battling all of this by yourself. And obviously, you've got a partner, you want to explain things, but your partner is working full time. You don't want to stress them. Now, through that journey, I started figuring out like, okay, so if I'm having this, well, I might as well just, open a school or something so that I can just put my child in because, is not in a provision or anything. But it's not that easy. It is not easy. But through research and experience and everything, started an alternative provision. But by that time, that alternative provision was set, obviously needed some help. So went into partnership. But by the time that alternative provision started, my child had found a placement, an interim support placement. But I said I will not stop this journey just because they found an interim support placement. I've got there are some parents out there who need to be supported. I'm still going on with this journey. As I joined this meeting, and Shana is messaging me, "Are you joining?" Because this is linking to us and everything. I am sorry I'm putting you on the spot,
No,
but
it's fine. It's fine.
I don't think I would have been where I am if you hadn't actually, just been there.
That's amazing.
I feel a lot of parents just don't have that support, and because they don't have that support out there, it's rough. Because your first question that you were asking earlier, I think Kutiwa also mentioned some of her challenges, and these are the same challenges. Those people out there, they don't get it. They don't give you that comfortable support where you take your child and you feel, okay, my child is being supported the way that makes me feel comfortable. It's not all bad. Some of it's good. The mainstream where my school was going, although they limited the time, he did get, they tried. He was getting the right support. But now I'm actually advocating for the other, Black parents out there to say, I'm here and my purpose is I want to build the community where I can also support the Sen moms, the children, so that they can get that break. There are a lot of British groups who actually do Sen support groups, and they support one another. But I haven't seen any support group from us as Africans where we support one another. It's more about judgment, like, oh, so your child is like that, or, that kind of thing. So I went to last week on Friday. So I live in Worcestershire. I'm in Worcestershire. I'm in Worcester area, and work in Worcester. I'm in Evesham area. So I drove all the way to, forgive me with my pronunciation. So it's Herefordshire. So how do you pronounce that?
That was perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that's like an hour's drive from here. So I went there to start to do a research so that I can try and find out Sen moms who need help and support in that area. I'm happy to have met some community ambassadors there. It was really great. So just want to say, this is my purpose. I now want to help the mummies out there. That's what I want to do.
That's
I'm not looking to make profit or anything. I just want to help the mummies out there, those who are struggling. I just want to help them. It can be navigating through the sense systems with the council, trying to get your child's placement, whatever I can help with, just that support. Like, I need a break. So who can look after my child? What can I do? Just have those groups in place.
Wow. I feel like there should be a follow-up on this conversation, Renee, because you brought up some very important practical support systems that we can start to set up.
Yeah.
So caring for each other in real tangible ways and
Yeah.
setting up these type of support systems that are within reach. So I wonder if it's something Chennai can organize, and it's a
Yeah,
conversation I would be happy to be involved in and to continue.
absolutely. So Renee and myself, we've kind of been on this journey together, sharing, and I think it has just helped because I'm a social worker, so I've had a bit more knowledge about processes and stuff like that, which has helped. But one of the things that we did talk about is the lack of support for parents, African parents of children with autism, especially because it can be such a lonely place to be.
Absolutely.
And that's certainly something that I'm more than happy to talk to her about. It is an area, increasingly in the last few weeks, I have been having a lot of parents reach out to me around special needs. So it's definitely an area that I can look into expanding EPAC or also supporting Renee to start something in her local area if that's something that she wanted to do. But one of the things I wanted to pick up on is on question number 3, but it's probably going to go back to question number 2 a little bit.
That's okay.
And join the two. I would have liked to hear from somebody who's had experience with CAMS. We haven't had anyone who's had experience with CAMS, but I also think that's probably because it's very difficult to get support from CAMS.
Yes, that's the truth.
Because there's a 4-year waiting list for CAMS. Speaking from my own experience, I had to pay for a private autism diagnosis for my son. Because when I asked for the referral, I was told there was a 4-year wait.
Oh my goodness.
And that 4-year wait for me was not an option because I had a child who was really struggling, but having school saying that it was a behavioral issue or a parenting issue. All right. So because he is very high functioning and doesn't display a lot of the usual symptoms that you would see in a child who is autistic, because he masks a lot. Because he's so high functioning, he masks a lot. So I had to go down that route of paying for a private diagnosis just so he could receive the support. As you said earlier on, a diagnosis essentially means your child getting support.
That's right.
And sadly, within our community, because of stigma, we don't always want the label on our children. But for me personally, that label has been so helpful in getting support for my son.
That's so critical.
It's so critical. So when we talk about what activities and projects that we would want to see, I mean, we can do support groups ourselves to support each other. But I suppose what I want to see goes beyond that. I want to see a joined up approach between education and mental health services.
Yes.
When it comes to supporting children who have additional needs. Because a lot of the times parents are being bounced from pillar to post. School might say, we can't do this, we're going to refer to CAMS. And then once they put the referral in, that's it, that's your problem. Now you deal with CAMS. Where education, we don't really deal with that. There isn't really that joined up approach that also supports the parent, because the parent is just struggling and a lot of the times just left to deal with it. like what Renee just said around, you are called, come and get your child. We can't meet their needs in school. We are struggling, but you can't get any access to support. So you might say, actually, my child requires, therapeutic support. School is saying we don't have funding for that. And actually, CAMS can't take them on because there's a 4-year waiting list. So it makes it very, very difficult. And yes, whilst we can have those conversations at the community level, there is so much that we can do in conversation, but the child actually needs support that we can't offer from a community level. But I suppose having those conversations with the people that are making those decisions might help, I guess.
And I think there's also something about us coming together and solving our problems as a community having that sense of self-efficacy or self-determination. And maybe there are ways that we can access the funding. And I know there's a tender at the moment for short breaks for learning disabilities. I believe that's for one of the local councils. I'll have to double check, but it's an opportunity to come together perhaps and bid for some of these contracts and see what sort of alternative services we can come up with. So I'm just conscious of the time as well. And there are two hands.
There are
people
two
want
hands,
to speak.
and then
so
we've got some comments. So I'll start with Kutiwa, had hands up, and then Charity, and then there's a few comments in the chat as well. Kutiwa.
Hi. Sorry. So I was actually just when I was listening to Renee just now, I just remembered that I don't know if there's anyone else on here who's waiting for assessments to be done. I think I'd written in Chennai's chat earlier to say my 14-year-old has been told that the council have shut down their list because of it being so long and being a backlog of since COVID. But my 5-year-old, her school has got an educational psychologist, so she's going to get an assessment done in May. I believe that's just like in a few weeks' time. And the primary school is doing very well. The high schools is the one that's really struggling because, as you know, I think she's masked yet. At one point when she was younger, they were like, oh, she needs speech therapy. But then she started school and masked it very well until now when it's actually now coming back. And it's really it's really worse for her. But there's a charity that is called is it myhappymind.org?
Oh yes, yeah.
Yes, so I was referred to them actually by my life insurance guy who also had an autistic child. We were talking about how the reason why I want to do this is because I don't want to leave my kids with no help, So he said, "Oh, call my Happy Mind." So I called them, and they will do assessments. I think at £500.
Okay.
If you get a teacher or a doctor to put the referral.
All right.
Okay. Do you want to put the name in the chat for others to kind of catch it, if that's okay? Oh, thank you for that. That's really useful.
That's fine. And with Renee, if she even needs any help with social media or anything to do with whatever she's doing, I'm here to help because I actually had started a school community. I think it was just the beginning of this year, where it was again for Black moms to just come and maybe chat about the autistic, and kids and stuff. Unfortunately, I only had like women coming from America.
No,
it was not really big in the UK, so
I think it's about to start to really kind of cascade. It's that ripple effect. Once we start something going, trust me, people will refer to others, and then it will be a whole movement. So this is just the start.
We really need it because I think there's a lady called Precious on social media who's really been pushing she's called Precious. Her daughter's called Miko. And they've been really pushing. She's the same, pretty much same age as my youngest one. They're only about 3 days apart. But she believes that COVID might have actually caused the autism to show up quicker on her youngest daughter. because of the fact that, brain synapses and stuff did not happen when we were under lockdown. So a lot of the children came out non-verbal.
That's so, yes, I've heard of that.
Yeah, so she's
Argument
been
as well.
pushing on that. So everybody just then got, oh wait, like with my 5-year-old, you could ring an alarm and she would not even like twitch that there's an alarm ringing next to her.
Wow.
So there was just the synopsis did not really, connect together. So I've been following her, and then she's just been teaching a lot of people about autism and sensory issues and stuff like that, and her child going to school and out and all that stuff. But she's in Dallas, I believe, or actually she's probably moved now. But we just didn't have anyone here talking about it. Like
Drop her
Chennai said.
drop her handle in the chat for us as well, if that's okay.
Yes, definitely. It's all over YouTube. You will definitely find it. But I will.
Excellent.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. And then we've got Charity.
Hello, guys. Good evening.
Hi, Charity.
I would just want to talk about CAMS because nobody talked about it. I think that's another big challenge despite the aspect of GP, because I've gone through the experience of CAMS and it's difficult, and I don't think they're doing anything about it because I was referred to CAMS by the school and we waited for so long. I finally got an appointment. They met with me and my son once, which they asked questions and so many things. And they took a note and everything, and they said they'll get back to me, which they never did. So when I was struggling with my son a lot, I have to go there myself, uninvited, without an appointment, and like, I need help. I've been waiting on you guys. You've seen me once. You said you get back to me. You didn't get back to me. I need help. I can't do it anymore. My son goes to school just 1 hour. I need help. I literally sat there crying that I'm not leaving until someone comes out and speak to me. So I was sitting for like 30 minutes. Then someone finally came and, oh, what do you want us to do? I was like, I need help. What can you do? I'm waiting for a diagnosis for my son. The school is getting worse. Nobody's helping me. What can I do? I can't take it anymore. So I was just crying and all that. And the lady just said, okay, what's going on? What did the school say? They took a note thinking. I was so happy. I was like, oh, maybe they're finally going to help. I waited after I went home. They said they'll get back to me. Till now, they haven't got back to me. And when they did, I got some issue going on now. So when they did the review of his EACP, they keep writing something saying they can't find his record in CAMS, but I've attended 2 appointments.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, dear.
So that's another challenge I'm facing. Who should I ask? Why are they saying they can't find him in CAMS when we've attended 1 appointment because the other one I went on my own? So CAMS, I don't know. You wait for so long. And they've seen me once. Now the EACP is saying they can't find his record with CAMS, but we're with CAMS. So I don't know what they're doing really.
How long has this been going on for?
We've been waiting for CAMS for more than, because it was in nursery for 3 years, it's 7 now. So we've waited for 4 or 5 years. I think we waited for 3 years plus before I saw them for that once. Then after another 6 months, that was when I went back when his case was really worse in school, when it was reduced to 1 hour. Then just recently, although we got some issue, when they review his EACP, that statement is still there. We can't find him or CAMS.
Wow.
So although now I don't know what to do about it, which I'm still going to speak to China about it maybe later, because I don't know why they keep saying that word, that they can't find him there when they've invited us over for an appointment. They've got his record, they've asked questions about him, they've even spoken to him, taking record and everything. So that's a big challenge as well, because they're making it look like I wrote on the form that he's with CAMS, but he's coming back, they can't find his record in CAMS. So it's a situation where you don't really know what to do. You don't even know who to speak to, because the people you're hoping to help, they're not even doing anything about it. They said they can't find you, and who are you going to meet and tell them or what are you going to do? It's a really, really stressful situation.
That sounds really tough. Have you tried going back to your GP to kind of try and see if there's a trail that he or she could follow?
At the moment, no, which I was going to discuss with Chana after this, because when I saw this topic, I was like, oh, this is for me really, which is really helpful because they're really speaking to me and my husband, because me and my husband is watching it. So maybe after I will ask for like the support, I will ask for direction, what to do next. Because nobody spoke about CAMS. I was surprised because if a school is writing a referral, is to pediatrician and CAMS, because the CAMS said they're doing the ADHD and the hospital said they're doing the autism spectrum, or they shared it into two. Hospital is doing their bits, although it's taking forever, but CAMS, they're doing nothing.
Oh, I'm sorry your family is going through this difficult time. But
And that's not an isolated case.
no.
Yes. That's what I hear all the time.
Wow.
There's a real struggle with CAMS, and I've got somebody in the chat. Any men said that their son's referral was rejected by CAMS, but I can see you've put further down that there is a right to choose service for getting diagnosis. Have you been able to access? Have you been able to get the diagnosis or the referral accepted through that route? I'll be interested to know.
Hi, good evening.
Hi.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, speaking to what Charity also said, so like when my son was referred to CAMS, they rejected his referral. So I went back to my GP, and then there was back and forth for like 6 months. So I referred myself to early help, the social services where I live. So a social worker was assigned to me, and she was the one that told me I could access the right to choose services. So yeah, I think there's a 7-month wait list, because it's really that list is getting crazy right now too. It's not easy anymore there.
Yeah.
So I think Charity should get on that right to choose service as fast as she can, because the list there is piling up now too. So I'm on a 7-month wait list right now on the right. My son has been accepted. We're on the waiting list there.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Can you tell everyone about the right to choose, what it all is all about, and
oh yeah, so when when the social worker told me about it, you go to your GP. I went to my GP and I told my GP that they should refer me to the right to choose service. So they now sent me a list of the private providers that the Black Country works with. So I did my research, checked the different websites, checked their waiting list and all that, the waiting times. And I picked a particular one I was all right with. Yeah, they're the ones for children who have autism, ADHD. All the information is on the different websites when you are sent a list of all the providers. So when I picked one, I went back to my GP and said, this is the one I had picked. So my GP filled the forms and sent it to them. And then they sent me the forms back to fill the area for the parents. Yeah. So basically, then they sent a mail to say your son has been accepted. This is the waiting period. This is what you can do while you wait, yada, 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 like that. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because there've been a few parents feeding back about the right to choose as a pathway, in terms of some people didn't know that they are private providers. And is it very costly, or were you comparing prices?
No, the NHS is paying.
Oh, they're paying.
So
Oh,
if your
excellent.
GP refers you, the NHS will pay. But like if
Okay.
I was paying privately, they would attend to my son tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes, but yeah, if you're coming through the NHS, you go on the waiting list. But if it's private, they will attend to you like immediately.
And what are the price ranges like, just so others can know?
Oh, I never
if they were
bothered to
going
check.
private.
I never bothered
For
to
the
check.
private,
Yeah, for the private.
anything above 1,000. When I paid, that was in 2024 that I paid for my son's assessment. That was 1,500.
Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me quickly say, I met with my son's social worker today. In fact, today she was like, she can't help me anymore because all the services she had been trying to help us get, nothing was working. Because I moved here not too long ago, so I don't have recourse to public funds, and my son doesn't have diagnosis. So like I can't get respite, I can't get anything. So she had to like close our file today. So she was saying to me today that even those who are getting the diagnosis that they paid for privately, they're beginning to refuse them. They're beginning to not recognize them anymore here. So, so if people are paying, they need to be careful to be sure if they spend so much money, the diagnosis will be accepted eventually. So yeah, so they're beginning
Yeah, I was going to actually add that if you are going down the private assessment route, you have to be very careful about who you pick to do the assessment because CAMS can refuse to accept it. Mine was accepted, and also the council accepted it when I then used it to apply for my son's EHCP. But do your due diligence if you are going to go down the private route.
Brilliant, thank you. So I'm just aware we've got about 6 minutes
oh my
left.
God, the time
I'm just going to move. Thank you so much, everyone, for all your contributions.
Yeah, we did have a few more in the chat.
Oh, yes,
but
please
I'm
carry on.
just realizing your time as well. So somebody commented about we really need to be educated about the conditions to build up our confidence in having these basic conversations. And I think that's also really, really important. And then someone's just said, thank you so much for the sacrifice. Indeed, we can feel overwhelmed and stuck if you have a child with special needs, especially when you need a break. There's a lot of stigma around special needs. And then somebody else said, I think we need support for parents of children with ADHD as well, because that can be so challenging. That's very true. And usually autism and ADHD go hand in hand. So you find a lot of children have a dual diagnosis of autism and ADHD, as well. And then Kutiwa said, I'm happy to say the school here has been really helpful. They have an educational psychologist access. My 5-year-old, as she's nonverbal, her older sister has to go private. That's really good that you've got that support.
That's excellent.
And somebody else has said there's also need to increase awareness and acceptance within our own community. Sometimes when you have when your child is diagnosed, the community you think you have might end up making things worse because of a lot of things. We have had to stop going to church and other gatherings. That is so sad, but also so true.
Yes, very
so true.
common.
And that's a whole workshop on its own. And that's why I said at the beginning that having a child with additional needs can be so lonely, because sometimes even trying to speak to friends, they just don't get it. I mean, the amount of times the people within my network have said, are you sure your son's got autism? Because we don't see it. And I don't blame them, because if you met my son, you wouldn't know he has autism because he's so high functioning. But you just need somebody that understands a bit more. When you're saying, guys, I am so stressed, I've been called to school again. You just want somebody that's, that just gives you that pat on the back. To say it's going to be okay. So
someone that gets you.
Yeah, I totally relate with that. So Renee, there's so many people interested in supporting you there. I will share the contacts with you after.
Amazing. Thank you, guys. Thank you. We're gonna make this work. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and Cynthia has also said that she's used the right to choose option through the GP to get her son's ADHD diagnosis. It took 6 months. That's really good. That's definitely way better than the 4-year wait within the NHS.
Oh my goodness, 4 years.
Yeah. So definitely, Charity, explore the right to choose option, or any other parent who's struggling to get a diagnosis, that's an option that you could consider. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, right. So thank you everybody for that engagement. That was really rich. So many stories that can help everybody else who's on the platform. So, and thank you for sharing your stories, guys. It's not easy being vulnerable like that, but when it's for a good purpose, you know, it helps to serve other people in their struggles as well. So we appreciate your generosity. That's what that is. You're really generous in sharing. So at the very start of the this event, I did mention to you about my studies, talking to strangers. So I'm just going to give just some top 5 tips. I was going to, you know, do a role play with us, but the time now, we might do the acting on another day.
Yes.
The acting is for another day, but we're just going to go through how to ask if you're, you know, for your child to be on the register. So, however, I'm just going to give you some of the tips when you, you know, just to help you to be heard and understood sometimes. And this was a point, the first point really is to do with how you engage initially. And I think one of the ladies who shared her stories with us this evening, she kind of mentioned a little bit of a hint to that tip that I feel should be at the top. And it's basically to do with your name. So when you ring up any type of health services, it would be important to, or how can I put it? I would advise you to recognize that engagement with health professionals in this country requires a level of technical abilities, and you have to be very savvy. So for example, when you ring up, try and first of all, explain what it is you want. So for example, you could go in to say, I'm ringing to find out about the learning disability register. For example, I have a child who's autistic and I need to speak to someone at the surgery. Do you have available appointments, right? Rather than saying your name first, because sometimes when you jump to say your name first, there could be prejudice straight away, you know, and then all of a sudden those appointments are no longer available. So always give the situation first and then your name, or you wait for them to ask you your name. Does that sound all right? So that's a good first step. And also when you are describing when your pain, for example, or for the pain of your child, they might struggle to understand your pain. So maybe instead of saying, I'm in a lot of pain, you could use scales. So on a scale of 1 to 10, maybe say to them, I'm at 9. It's unbearable. It's at 9. Do you see what I mean? So rather than trying to explain, and the language barriers might get in the way. So maybe use numbers instead. So another tip is keep a record of all your interactions with health professionals. So record when you attend and what was said. So you need to really keep a diary separate that just for appointments, anything to do with the doctor's any type of health professional or even school for the children. So just keep all of these letters and records. The fourth tip is just be aware that the clock is always ticking and health professionals haven't got much time to listen to your problem. So be as clear as you can, which then means all that good record keeping is going to help for you to really explain your case. And then finally, if you can, take someone with you as well for support, because it shows that you are cared for and somebody values you enough to come along with you. Because a lot of the times we are undervalued and sometimes they don't see our needs or see us as people who are worthy of attention. So those are just some quick tips. I wish we could have done a bit more of the role play, but I suppose if I speak to Chennai nicely, I could come back again.
Yes, you should. Oh, I was going to say I definitely will be inviting you again. Someone's asked in the chat, can you request to record them?
Ooh, give me more context to record the
To
doctors.
record the professionals, yeah.
Yeah, you could ask. I suppose you could
Yeah.
ask, with GDPR.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you can ask. I'm just thinking of myself from in my line of work, because we get that a lot as social workers, people requesting to record you. Yes, you can ask, but they can say no, because it's your
that's
choice
right.
whether you get recorded or not. Like, for example, I would always say no to a parent asking to record me, not because I'm not being transparent, but actually the issues we are discussing are so sensitive that I wouldn't want that to end up on social media and stuff like that. So one of the things that I would then do is, if you're not happy for us to continue, I can end the session here. In that way, it doesn't help you, because then you've not got the support that you need, because the session has ended. So yes, you can ask, but they may say no as well.
That's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true. Yeah, so get in touch, guys. Like I said, the Instagram is for my doctoral research. So if you want to follow that, just to see how I'm getting on with talking to strangers online. And also you can follow me on, I'm on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Jessie Allen. So thank you so much for your attention, and thank you for taking part.
Yeah. No, thank you so much, Jessie. This has been so good. Even myself, I've really enjoyed this. As I said,
Oh, excellent.
You don't always have people to talk to around these issues, and actually being on this, where you have so many people that have a shared experience, is so refreshing. It really is, because you feel like you're not alone.
That's right.
There are other people that are also going through what you're going through, and that can be, that has been so helpful for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So thank you. And definitely we will be inviting you back again, because I know you've got your hands in a lot of different things. So we'll definitely invite you back, maybe to talk about another area, because mental health is so vast. I think last time we talked about maternal mental health, and we had a lot of discussions around that. So when you think about mental health in general, you are looking at a whole range of different areas that we could. I mean, today we've only spoken about children with additional needs, but even then that wasn't even enough. As you can see, our time's literally gone, and we were still talking. So yeah, we'll definitely be inviting you again. It will be an honor to have you on our platform again.
Oh, I know. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you everyone for joining. I was going to say who we've got next week. I've got a couple of people lined up, but you will be pleased to know that I have managed to secure a guest speaker from West Midlands Police. Yay! Because I've been trying to do that for over a year. So I've managed to secure a guest speaker from West Midlands Police who will be coming to talk to us around county lines, and also the adultification of Black boys who go through the criminal justice system. So I am so super excited about that. He will be coming on the 13th of April. So I am giving you plenty of notice so that you know when we will have the police officer coming to speak to us. I've also got a few interesting individuals lined up, but I am waiting to confirm. So I will let you all know in due course. But thank you all so much for joining, and I look forward to seeing you again next Monday.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Jessie.
Let me just
really
do a reaction.
appreciate
Let
you.
me do a reaction.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
No worries. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Jessie.
Bye.
Catch up
Thank
with
you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.